Hey there, YouTube. The title of this video is Why Talking with Some People is Like Talking to a Wall. I'm sure everybody has experienced a situation where you are discussing a topic with someone, and no matter how many rational or logical points you bring up, the other person is just not accepting or even acknowledging any of it. At the end of the conversation, you just end up exacerbated and annoyed that they didn't even seem to be listening to you. All of this, I've sort of, that sort of problem has been coming up lately, and I sort of decided to dive into it and see what I could find out. And I've pretty much figured out that that problem stems from you having different core beliefs on some part of the issue or issues you are discussing. Now, these core beliefs are usually not obvious if you're really getting nowhere with somebody and it doesn't seem to make sense why you're getting nowhere with them. Just to give an example of a situation I ran into recently, I was having a discussion with my dad about automation, robotics, just sort of how that is the way of the future in certain industries that currently rely on a lot of low-skilled laborers to do most of the grunt work. I believed it was just a matter of time before they were replaced by robots you only have to buy once. He was almost immediately against me on this, and just completely just pushed aside the whole notion. It turned into a long drawn out argument, and I couldn't really make sense of it because he usually is quite a rational person, and we agree on most things. We have pretty similar mindsets, and so when I was really getting nowhere with him, I started to get confused. I'm like, what is up with this? The argument went on for a while, and it kept coming up over several different days and several different issues. I'd show him an article, he'd be like, oh no, that stuff's not anything worthwhile. And after deciding there must be some other issue than the one we're talking about because it didn't make any sense, I decided to dissect the conversation. I found that the real issue was when I asked him what is wrong with machines doing all the work. It just came down to that, and his response, well, people need jobs, and he was dead set on it. He's like, people need to work, and it was like, eureka! I found the actual problem. And he didn't have a problem with automation or robotics or any new technology, really. What he had a problem with was with big industries not providing jobs for people, and especially not providing, putting people out of work and stuff. And so when I had brought up automation and all these tech advances that would eventually put people out of work, it sort of it was flagged in his mind as faulty information because it went against the grain of his core beliefs about people needing jobs. And even though that was a completely separate issue, it ties in at parts, but it was still a separate issue. Alright, now that we have identified the problem and why you get stuck in dead-end conversations with certain people, let's discuss how to fix it, because if you're watching this video, you probably like solutions, not just problems. Once you realize you're getting nowhere with someone on a subject, you have to figure out the real issue. It's like you're both just getting angry, you're bringing up rational points, they're not really arguing your points, just flat out rejecting them. So you realize their problem, and it's time to figure out the real issue. Now, this will take patience, which is hard to come by sometimes, and a non-confrontational demeanor. Just, not being judgmental, and just trying to be understanding to find the real issue. So you want to dissect the conversation down to the person's core beliefs. You can ask them to elaborate why they feel and think certain ways without telling them those certain processes of thinking are wrong. So you want to just hear them out at first. And you have to understand that at this point you're not arguing, you're simply unearthing the person's thought process. And if you're not patient and soft-spoken at this point, there's a good chance you will never find out. They won't reveal anything truly that's important to them to you, because a lot of people keep those core beliefs really locked away, because if they were brought out into the daylight and a lot of people find them wrong, repulsive, undesirable, it's like the ultimate dagger to their heart, and it can destroy some people's self-image. So a lot of people keep that locked away. But once you have carefully unearthed, what they truly have a problem with, and now you know what to discuss. Because before you were trying to argue a point without ever. You were trying to solve a problem, argue a point, and discuss something that you weren't ever talking about. And that's hard to do. It's like with my dad, we weren't ever talking about people deserving jobs or anything like that. We were talking about robots and technology. And so once you actually get on the subject you're both talking about, it helps a lot. Then you can bring up some ideas or notions that might go against their core beliefs, but you're addressing that particular question now, so you might actually get something useful done. And when I was discussing, as soon as we figured out the true issues of the conversation, we were both able to respect each other. I didn't think he was just being stupid. I realized where he was coming from, and we were able to sort of come to some good conclusions, and actually get some productive discussion done. Well, just keep in mind, people's core beliefs will not change after one discussion. That's not going to happen. All you can do is hope to put a crack in their sort of dam of ignorance and let mental physics do its work over time. Well, that's my thoughts on the matter, and if you have any instances where you were talking to a wall and you want to share it below, feel free. Well, as always, thanks for watching, and I look forward to your feedback. Bye.